I think that Dan Lanning and Oregon get over the hump and win a national title. I think
After
that's
everything you said? After everything you said in the predictions, that's where you're going. Wow. Okay. All right. What's your reasoning?
Wait, hold on. Here was my prediction. Hold on. Please. I had them losing twice to Ohio State. If that is me saying that they were bad, then let me be bad.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just pointing out the take that you had that he isn't ready yet, which is a good take.
Yeah, again, basically, these are the things that I've had hard takes on. Pause. That I've had hard takes on that if I am wrong, it wouldn't surprise me that I'm wrong in. Dan Lanning and Oregon winning a national title would not surprise me. It wouldn't. Joe, I know that I think it's what Cornelius had the right knee injury, if I'm not mistaken. He's out. He's been out of camp. He might miss the first couple of weeks. Isn't it him? Somebody in the chat correct me if I'm wrong with him. But they have a right tackle that got hurt and's been out the last couple of days of camp. Could come back in like week 3, week 4. I don't know. But, Joe, I mean, they were borderline there. And I think that they will get better. I think they will continue to get better. With that being said, I think that if there's a bold prediction of a team that is a really talented, that's not getting like national championship level buzz, I think that Oregon can win a national title. I love Dan Lanning. By the way, here's the thing. What you misconstrued about what I've said about them and going 10-2 in the regular season, so my team being LSU, if Brian Kelly left today, the first call that I would want them to make would be Dan Lanning for my program.
Yeah.
Recruiting. Yeah. Like I want, do whatever you got to do to get Dan Lanning would be my take. Okay. With that being said, it's not that I think that they're bad or that they're off. I got to see him execute as a head coach in crunch time.
I wasn't saying that. And I think that, and I agreed with you when you made that statement, and we kind of coupled that together into one take when we did our Big Ten predictions, that it takes a little bit of time and that they're dealing with Ohio State being at the peak of their frustrations and now finally having a team good enough to reach a national championship. I will say this could happen. And what could happen, what could trigger this is if they do beat Ohio State twice or if they beat them once. I think that's enough momentum and confidence where if they beat them in the regular season and maybe lose the Big Ten championship game, they could have momentum in the rest of the year, not face or see Ohio State on their side of the bracket, and Ohio State gets picked off by somebody. Maybe it's Georgia. Maybe like Ohio State's the 3 seed or whatever, and they lose to Georgia, or maybe the 4 seed. I think that's what it would require. I could totally see that happening, Oregon going on a run. They have all the structure of a championship-winning team. It's just the hurdle that they have in the way is this Death Star quality Ohio State team. That is a huge freaking hurdle to get out of the way. But I like that for the premise of having a really bold take. That is a bold one, and it will require a little bit of luck on their side, but there's certainly a world where that could totally happen, and it could end up being a legit national championship prediction.
Here's another thing, too. Dillon Gabriel is a much more serviceable college quarterback than people give him credit for. I mean, Joe, he is going to win you football games, right? Like, dude, he beat a playoff team by himself last year, damn near. I mean, if Dillon Gabriel doesn't have the game that he had for Oklahoma last year, they lose to Texas. You know, and it's funny from Oklahoma fans, you can't say that your OC stinks and Jeff Lebby that year and that Dillon Gabriel wasn't good enough. Yeah. I mean, like, you can't have both.
He won you the most important game of the year.
Won you the most important game of the year, and then you go to Kansas. I think it was Kansas in a rainy game, and Kansas, like, or maybe it was Kansas State, I forget, and then they just run the ball. Kansas. Yeah, Kansas. And you can't, you can't win because just dumb decisions by Brent Venables. I love Dan Lanning, man. Now, somebody in the chat asked me, who's the better coach, BK? Because I brought that argument, BK or Dan Lanning. I mean, you got to say BK for how long he's been doing it. I mean, he's had, 9 or 8 straight years of 10 wins or more? Like, I mean, anywhere he's gone. I mean, come on. At the current moment, he's been in the playoffs. Now,
I think eventually Lanning passes him.
He could. He very much could. And that's very plausible. But right now, it couldn't. And here's another thing, man. Listen, I kept this LSU-centric out, okay? Remember this time last year, what sparked this whole thing between me and you about bold takes was that I said that Jane Daniels was going to win a Heisman. Remember? And that was a lot of, people were backlashing that. Here's the ultimate hot take if it was going to be me. And I just didn't – I wouldn't have kept bias out of it. LSU is going to be a top 45 defense under Blake Baker. Harold Perkins is going to lead the SEC in sacks. Get ready for it.
This video is sponsored by the online fitness training camp presented by Chris Gates Fitness. When I first started talking about Chris, about partnering with our show, not only was I excited to have a fitness sponsor for our pod, but more importantly, when I found out about how he can help people achieve their goals, I was even more bought in, because when the football season starts, it is so tough to stay on top of things and also to be able to enjoy yourself on Saturdays when it's game day. With Chris Gates Fitness's online training camp, you're going to be able to effectively stay focused, consistent, burn fat, build muscle, and do it with a like-minded community of individuals working towards the same thing. On top of this, you're going to be able to get direct coaching from Chris and the ability to ask him questions with an access to a live Q&A where you can get direct personalized support from Chris himself. Don't wait any longer. If you're trying to get in shape during this fall and you want to be able to do it with the right support system, head on over to chrisgatesfitness.com/training camp or click the link in the description. And you need to do it today because you can get the first month. Personal training is expensive, folks. The first month for only $10 when you use that code RuffinoJoe. Don't wait any longer. Head on over there. BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.